Yeah, this is the chapter from where the real valuation part, or typically, if at all, I have to look at evaluating a company for a buy or a sell decision. This is the starting point, right? Probably, if someone has given me Infosys, evaluate Infosys and give me whether I should buy or sell this. So here we are just having two chapters where the focus is on just the introductions part. One, how do I do an understanding of the industry and the company, and two, what are the various formulas and calculations that are associated with the valuations part. But the real calculations and all we take up in level 2. So this is the starting point, but the continuation happens in the next level for you. So when we talk about the industry and the company analysis, initially we are talking of why do we need this industry analysis. First of all, we are understanding the business of the company. See, if I have to understand the company's business, I need to know the bigger picture, right? Probably some industries, they work well in some countries, whereas they may not work well in some other countries. For example, a country which is following a complete birth control kind of stuff, right? Probably in that country, a baby foods product companies, in that country, probably anything to do with the baby foods or baby related stuff, those industries may not be successful in that company because not too many childbirths are happening in that country. Whereas in some other country where the population comes like cricket teams, then probably in that country, probably a child related industries, they are more and more prevalent. They have a lot of more demand. So what we are talking of is, unless I understand the industry, because as an analyst, I need to know what is the growth of the industry, this industry in our country, right? Probably the Hindustan Unilever, or probably the parent company, the Unilever group, may not be successful equally in all the countries. It's the same parent, but the success may not be the same in all the countries, because the characteristics of the industry are different in each of the countries, right? Some industries, probably an IT industry may be very successful in India, but in some countries the IT industry may not be that successful as India is, but it may be successful in very other countries. Like as simple as saying, probably cricket is a successful sport in India, but when you go to some other country, probably cricket has no relevance, though it's the same cricketer. But if he is making a life in India, his life is different. But if the same talented person making a life in some other country, probably he may not even earn his livelihood also out of it. So every industry has to be analyzed from that standpoint before we jump into the analysis of a company specifically, right? So that's where we talk about the potential growth of the industry. How much is it possible? At what stage it is in? How many competitors are there? Probably 10 years back, if we see a telecom industry, the mobile phone telecom industry, hardly you may see two or three competitors there. Probably a Bharti Airtel was there, probably a Idea was there, only two or three players were there 10 years back. But today the competition got increased. So once the number of players increase, or even before 10 years, there was only BSNL, or hardly MTNL plus BSNL, only two or three companies at the max. So at that point in time, probably the scope for growth for BSNL was much higher compared to after the competition started flowing in. So we have to really understand the industry for the various competition possible, various risks associated, right? How much of debt can be taken? See, is that industry a complete equity intensive industry, or is it a debt oriented kind of industry? What is the possibility of credit risk in that industry? So the evaluation of the entire industry has to be done Because as an investor or as an investment advisor, our role is to shortlist on some of the industries. So should we give more importance to IT, or should we give more importance to pharma or real estate? So first, as an investor, we will think of which sector is growing well, rather than saying which company is doing well. We'll always look at which sector is doing well, and within that sector, which companies are doing well. Right? If there is a good possibility of growth, sometimes we say, "Oh, automobile industry as a whole is showing some kind of a slump." We won't say, right? The generic statements we typically see is, yeah, automobile industry as a whole is showing a slump. So probably out of this company one is much better compared to all. So that's a typical statement that is made, which means we want to do a bifurcative analysis across. We don't want to jump directly into the company, because company is a part of the industry, industry is a part of the economy. That's where the typical analysis which people do, we even call it as EIC analysis. As a practical side, whenever we talk about analyzing a company, we start with the economy, then we link it with the industry, then we get into the company before directly evaluating the financial statements of the company directly. So that's where whenever we talk about the word industry, now what is the definition of industry? There is no clear cut definition even till today. Different organizations create the grouping. Of course, it's a group of companies, right? Whenever we say industry, it's a group of companies, but the groupings are specific. Different organizations do the grouping in different ways. Probably when we say an automobile industry, your definition may be different from my definition, because no one has defined that these are the kind of companies which form an automobile industry. Probably you may say, no, there is nothing called automobile industry. Either a four-wheeler industry versus two-wheeler industry. You may classify them as two different, or probably three-wheeler industry. You may classify every industry differently. I may say, no, everything is automobiles. Or someone else may say, if all these are automobiles, probably I may consider even the tire manufacturing companies also as a part of automobile industry. Not just car manufacturing company. Even a car tire manufacturing companies or car auto parts, spare parts manufacturing companies, all of them I may treat them as automobile industry itself. So there is a difference in the way you consider the definition of the industry, and nothing is right, nothing is wrong, or all are right and all are wrong, right? So that's where analyst one analyst thinking will differ from another analyst thinking, because it's not a sign saying these 10 companies only will go as a part of the automobile industry. Probably if you see the way the kind of companies BSE has included as a part of its auto index is different from the companies which NSE has included as a part of its auto index. We sometimes say auto index has grown on BSE and it has fallen on NSE. The reason being the companies which are included, because yesterday we have seen as a part of the computation of the index, one key item is the companies which are included. How many and which all? Now if they are different, the index will always be different. So now should I analyze that automobile industry has fallen or grown? It completely depends on our perception of what we are defining as the industry. We have to be very clear, because when a BSE defines auto index, it does not consider the companies which are not listed on BSE. Probably Hyundai Motors is not listed in India at all. So Hyundai is nowhere considered as a part of automobile industry at all in India, as per BSE or NSE. But when a general person talks about automobile industry, he may say Hyundai is having the first or the second market share in India as far as some four-wheeler segment is concerned. So the definition of the industry may happen. So you can create your own definitions of industry, either on the basis of products and services or on the basis of business cycles, sensitivities. Like Some industries, they fluctuate very heavily with the business cycle. For example, an industry like real estate, right? It has a big boom when the economy is booming, but it will typically have a big downfall when the economy is in a recession. It reacts very, because it's not a kind of regular product, right? So it's a kind of I mean, when people are earning more, they want to invest there. When people are earning less, they want to back out from it. But on the other side, probably a food industry, right? Even if you don't consume more when the economy is booming, and you don't consume less when the economy is falling, more or less there will be a constant demand across. Or probably liquor, recession proof kind of an industry. Anytime you consume the same amount, or probably in recession you may consume more also, so it may have a different characteristic altogether. But every industry has a different characteristic altogether, sensitivity to the business cycle. So what I will do as a part of industry, I won't say auto industry or something, I'll say growth, I mean, growth industries, value industries. I'll simply use these kind of words. I'll simply define an industry on the basis of growth, where probably an IT company could be there and even a pharma company could be there in that, right? Even an index creation can happen through this kind of method. And sometimes people started even using statistical methods to define the industry, where more or less all the companies growing on a same rate every year. Those companies, irrespective of what products they are selling, we group all these companies as one industry, where the growth patterns are more or less the same across. Those all are grouped as one industry kind of stuff. So these kind of things, there are multiple definitions and derivations that are associated with the industry. Then there are some outside agencies which are publishing the classifications of the industries. S&P has its own classification, MSCI has its own, Morgan Stanley has its own classification. So there are so many. Dow Jones has its own classification, BSC has its own classification, NSE has its own classification. Probably a money control has its own classification, a capital IQ has its own classification. I mean, S&P has its own classification. So like that, every company, every agency has a typical classification of the industry. So either I can use them or I can develop my own classifications depending on what kind of analysis I am planning to do. If I have to analyze the hero motor car, I may think of, if I see, you may say, okay, look at hero motor car as a part of the whole automobile industry. Or someone may say, okay, why not look at it with respect to only TVS motors, or probably Bajaj, or couple of other companies which are probably Mahindra's, 3 4 other companies which form the total two-wheeler industry. Or someone else may say, again,